to do until you finally get old enough that you don't feel like sinning anymore. No, there's the being in the Word and being conformed and being transformed by the renewing of your mind, that God uses His Word to change your heart. Why? Because He's trying to crush us? No, because He's trying to heal us and set us free and save us. He's calling us to spend time in conversation and listening to Him. He's calling us to join Him in what He's doing in the world, to be a part of that in actions of service, in actions of witness, and that we would walk with God day by day. God did not send His Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world might be saved through Him. God's not the greatest party pooper of all history. He's trying to save us from ourselves. He who believes in Him is not judged. That may not sound too important to you today. I mean, if we could wrap our head around the idea of Judgment Day and standing before the God of the universe without Jesus, we'd get this. But we can't. We just can't perceive it the way we should. He who believes in Him is not judged. He who does not believe will be judged someday. Shake your head. No. What does it say? Judged already. If you don't have Jesus, you're set for hell. And God hates that. He doesn't want that to happen. He created hell for the devil and the fallen angels, and when we joined the revolution, we joined the consequences of the revolution. He sent His Son Jesus to spare us from that. He who does not believe has been judged already, because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Believed in the name. What does that mean? What does the name Jesus mean? Anybody? Oh, we can't talk, it's Sunday morning. How about Savior? Yeah. He's the Savior. God sent Jesus as Savior. Not just to keep me from the consequences of my sin out of hell, but to change me. To restore me back to what He intended when He created mankind. To take away the effects of sin and to help me come to know Him in a way that I could never know Him in my dead sins and trespasses separated from Him. Oh, how He loves you and me. Oh, how He loves you and me. He gave His life. What more could He give? Oh, how He loves you. Oh, how He loves me. Oh, how He loves you and me. Mm-hmm. Lord God, we pray even now. There's someone here who is understanding what Jesus has done on the cross for them, and they're going to stop putting You off, knowing that at any time they can step from this life into eternity without. And right now they turn their thoughts toward You and they would say, yes, Jesus, I do believe in You and what You did on the cross. I do believe You're the Savior. I do believe that You died for the sins of mankind, and I receive You. Please come into my life, my heart. Take me, change me. I want to be a child of God. Not just in heaven, but on earth. Lord, I thank You for those who have sincerely prayed that prayer, that You have saved them. And that they don't have to be fearful anymore of that, but Lord, You have a whole agenda of things that are next. Help them not to just go from that prayer back into life. Help them to involve themselves in this local church, to follow You in baptism, to be discipled, to be in Bible study, to do all the things that people do to grow and to be more like You. And Lord, for those of us who have belonged to You, some of us for a long, long time, but there's not been a lot of change. And we're still struggling in some of the same areas. Would you restore to us the joy of our salvation? Help us to realize that we need you in every part of our life, that you're not done with us. And even now, you may be bringing to mind a sin that is a fortress in our life. And we would come to you, we would say, yes, Jesus, I know I've confessed this before and I've brought this to you before, but Lord, I want to be free of this. And you said you could set me free. Lord, help me to get accountability, to be in the Word, to memorize Scripture, to do whatever I have to do to be victorious over the enemy in this area. Lord, there may be some you're calling to be a part of this church family. Some you may be calling to ministry. Some, Lord God, that have a decision to make, and they're wanting for things to go some way that they've already preset. Lord, would you speak truth in their lives to save them from the damage of another wrong choice, to come to you for your truth. We love you and we thank you for Jesus. May your will be done in our midst right now in this invitation, we pray. In Jesus' name. If you would stand, there's going to be singing now. If God is leading you to respond in some way, this is just your opportunity to come and meet me here. Tell me what's on your heart. You come.
struggled for the first few years. It was hard and tough, but they were faithful, and they gave their tithe and their offerings to the church. And then, as time went on and prospered in the business, and years passed, it got to the point that their offering was pretty large, and the man had a conversation with his pastor. He said, "Pastor," he said, when we were young, he said, we wrote out a check, said it wasn't all that hard. He said, now that I'm making quite a bit of money, it's hard to write out that large check. And some of you know where I'm going with this. And the pastor, being wise, he said, well, brother, we'll just pray that the Lord will reduce your income to the point where you don't have that problem. Well, that's a pretty interesting story. And one of the things about men's breakfast that I enjoy is hearing the stories of the guys that come and talk to us. And some of them are humor, some of them are really serious, some of them you come away with a tear in the eye, but everybody has a story, and this is my story. Most of you know me, some of you don't. My name is Joe Hudson. My daddy was born and raised just a few miles from here, and he left home at an early age and went to East Texas and married a girl from Angelina County, and I was born in Lufkin, Texas. But we would come back occasionally and visit my grandpa and grandma Hudson, and I can only remember one conversation with my grandpa Hudson. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and Grandpa was an active member of this church when he was younger, but at this point in my life, he wasn't active anymore. But he was still the icon in our family of a Christian witness. And so when I would come to visit, I would come to church with my cousins. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I met Grandpa in the living room one day, and he was an intimidating man. But he said, "Are you going to church?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You got something to put in the offering plate?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I've got a dime." And he said, "Always put something in the offering plate. You look in your pocket and all you got is a quarter, put the whole quarter in." "Yes, sir." And that was the extent of our conversation. Now I'm going to fast forward about 20 years. I was 24 years old, just a few days before my birthday when I was saved. And I joined the Disciples Baptist Church. And I started attending Sunday school. And it wasn't 2 or 3 lessons, 2 or 3 weeks that we had a lesson on tithing. And I come home now. My wife and I were struggling at that time. I was married, had 3 children, 1 on the way. This was in February 1962. And I was making $2.50 an hour. That's $100 a week. And we had been given $2 or $3 a week in our offering. But a tithe was a big challenge. We had 3 children, 1 on the way, 1 little brother-in-law living with us, living in a 2-bedroom home in downtown Echo here in Orange, driving a 1947 pickup Ford, stick shift. We'd come to church, my wife and I. The baby would be in the front, and all the kids would be in the back. You could ride in the back of the pickup then. It was a 47 Ford, it was 1962, and it looked like a 47 Ford. I still got pictures of it. But that's what we had. And on a day like today or like yesterday, I don't know how we did it, But everybody got in front of that truck, and it wasn't a two-seater either, it was a one-seater. But we was crammed in there like sardines. But it was hard times. But after that Sunday school lesson on tithing, the Lord convinced me that that was what we should do, and I come home and we talked about it. And let me stop and just say right here that if you're considering tithing, if you're single, that's not a big issue, but if you're married, this is something you need to talk about. If you listen to the testimonies we've had before, Jeff and Natalie talked about it, Scott and Leslie talked about it. This needs to be something that you agree on, or there's going to be issues in your family. But we talked about it, and I'll have to say my wife was so glad to have a Christian husband. I believe that we'd had 25%. She went along with that too. But we didn't have a problem. We began to tithe. And it was hard to cough up $10 a week. But I'm here to tell you that it wasn't 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. I don't remember exactly how many. But the boss called me in the office one day and said, "Joe, we're going to give you a raise. 25 cents an hour." That means I'd be making $2.75 an hour. Well, 25 cents an hour, 40 hours a week is $10 a week. And that was my tithe. Well, I want to fast forward again, about 30 years now. Kids are gone. Wife is gone. I get a call.